9 of f***ing 30. 9 of 30. Disgusting, man. And you know something, people? The DFL podcast here, the D, over the years anyway, became known for standing for dysfunctional, the dysfunctional football league. And I know that some of the people who are listening, aren't all just me and a couple friends and family, whatever. So those who are listening don't know the DFL. They might think that this is some sort of well-rounded group, as we've talked, about the Bills fairly optimistically and all of that through the first 5 episodes and whatever we've had, the little previews and that. It's not. The DFL is nothing like that, and maybe you're going to learn a little bit more of what it's like. Today we'll give a little more of our real personalities as far as the DFL goes, because there's not much optimistic shit to talk about. And speaking of shit, you can pardon my French, but that's what we got yesterday. So you're going to get a different DFL podcast today because our beloved Buffalo Bills, well, I guess Sean McDermott, Joe Brady, and our wonderful Superman Josh Allen all collectively decided to take a shit on a platter and serve it to Bills Mafia with their chicken wings, with that garbage show that we were disgraced with yesterday. Look, I understand the problems, and we're going to talk all about that and get into it. I understand, hey, we've got a number 1 receiver. He didn't play yesterday, his ankle, but Shakir is clearly the number 1. Without him, what the f*** are we doing out there? I mean, and in front of all teams. I mean, that's just a nice little added layer of like, yeah, oh, you're good without me, huh? Of all games to do that in front of the ex-girlfriend, But these are things. See, you need different takes. You're going to need to hear a different voice. You're going to hear some different ideas and different reasons why maybe we went to this train wreck. You're going to hear different ideas on it because you can tune in anywhere and listen to people tell you about that. We know. We watched it. You watched the game yesterday. If you're listening to this, I'm hoping you watched it. Otherwise, you're just as fucking discombobulated as that team. So I got a rant, people. I'm gonna open this show with a Billy Bear rant. That's what you're gonna get. Because it's disappointment, is what it is. I love the everybody eats mentality. Everybody fucking starving. And I know I'm not the first one to have said that. I said it in the middle of the game yesterday, and I wasn't the first one to say it. I'm sure. That's in the echo chamber now. That's just reverberating around the Nickel City here, because it's tragic. I mean, everybody eats, and apparently we live in a war zone in a third world country. Stephon Diggs, even though he didn't have the most insane numbers yesterday, he should go today and get a tattoo across the back of his shoulders that just says, "Everybody eats my ass." It was unacceptable, is what I'm getting at, people. It was unacceptable. And it's and the watching that game yesterday with Doubting Thomas, who will be on shortly by my side, I told him, I said, even though the Bills went 3-and-out on their first drive, I said, this is their game to lose. They'll have to lose this game. They're not going to get destroyed as poorly as they were playing. I'm like, still, you can just see it. Call it gut feeling, call it whatever you want. You could tell this was their game to hand away. And that's what they did. They took that big shit-filled platter and handed it away. Just gave it. Hey, here you go. Here's the game, Houston. Oh, we'll come back and we'll make it interesting. We're gonna make it interesting. We just might pull this thing out. You know what? McDermott said, no. Brady said, no. You know what, Sean? I don't think we should win this one. Let's throw the ball 3 fucking times down the field when all we need is 10 yards and take this to overtime. We're on our own 3. Let's go be magical. Let's just be magical. I mean, I know I've seen the Bills string together 98-yard drives in short periods of time with Josh Allen at the helm. But why take that chance? Why bank your entire... Okay, you took a shot first down. Nice. Okay, cool. You're being aggressive, Sean. We know you're aggressive. Why not hand it off now? Why not do something to get a few yards? Make them burn some timeouts. Don't risk incompletions. Oh, they were going to key on the run. Yeah. Where was Ray Davis? I don't know. Should I even ask that question? Maybe I should look that up. But Ty Johnson? We have to have somebody with some muscle on their legs. These guys do squats, don't they? I know they get paid on the other side of the ball too, but come on. You're getting paid. Pressure just got to Allen. Now, he was only sacked once, I think less than Stroud. But what was that? You power forward. Shove them. Do a fucking push 3 times and get that first down. Make them burn their timeouts. Take a knee. Go to overtime. Now, I know I'm not the only one ranting about this. And really, the game was lost before because they were trying to give it away from the coin toss. So we'll get into more of it. Thanks for listening to me vent. That's me ranting a little bit here. Take a deep breath, Bills Mafia. Life goes on. We'll be all right. Let's I don't know. I'm not doing like formal introductions and all the jibbery-jew. I don't feel like it. I feel like doing that. I put in songs. I'll put in all sorts of jokes and have fun when the Bills are winning. Now you're getting no. I'm gonna make sure anyone who's listening to this is feeling pain. Maybe we can get through it together, people.
And good morning to you too.
Good morning. I sent a message and asked Chucky, "Hey, where are you, man? We were talking about an hour ago, but now I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he fell down a well. I don't know, but he's not around. I said maybe he cowered. He tucked his tail and ran away because of the Bills laying an egg.
Everybody has their own way of sharing their pain.
Yeah.
Grief, I should say. They have their own way of grieving.
Right, so I've been ranting long enough. I've been yelling at everybody and telling them, talking all about the shit show that was laid out in front of us yesterday. And so I'm getting a little tired of talking. Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
I'm gonna tell you right now, right from the beginning. I know it looked like a typical Allen pass, but he overthrew Hollins just by a little bit. Okay, on that first drive, his passing game was off from the get-go. And the more I watched that game, the more I think about it, I should say, because when I was watching it, I was just like, come on. I even mentioned it a couple of times that, Allen just isn't himself. He isn't throwing it like normal. And the announcer turned around and said, these are not typical Josh Allen numbers. There's something, he didn't go as far as I am now. But I'm willing to elaborate. There's something wrong. There is something definitely wrong with that quarterback right now. And I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. But he is not playing like himself, and he hasn't since the Jacksonville game. In Baltimore, they want to say, well, they were over-dominated by the Baltimore run and so forth, Yeah, Baltimore had a running game going. But in the second half, when we were coming back, and they're saying maybe it was that trick play that blew everything out of proportion. But I'm telling you, when he rolled to his left on that play, and he cocked his arm back, he was looking to go long. He was looking for his receiver to be out there. That defenseman got around the corner before he could. But Allen usually throws quicker than that. He's seen that guy coming. He was 300 and some ass pounds, and there was nobody between him and Allen. He knew he was there, and he didn't let that ball go as quickly as he should have, even if he threw it out of bounds. And I'm telling you, his timing is off. There's something wrong. And then after yesterday, when he hit his head on the ground, and they saying, well, it looks like his shoulder. It wasn't his shoulder. His eyes were clearly shut. His right arm was folded under him. That man suffered a slight concussion at least. Maybe not a game-ending concussion, but he never should have been back in that game as soon as he was. And none of those passes were even nearly on target when they were at the 10. Why didn't they just let Mitch run it out? Even if they ended up with the field goal like they did, why didn't they just let him run it out and examine Allen a little longer? That was pretty darn quick. He was in and out of that tent. And when they showed McDermott's face, he looked like he wanted to say, sit down, don't go out there, but he didn't. And I blame him for that. And I believe that's what, and when they're in their own end zone, their own 3-yard line, and they're backed up, not one running play to try to get some breathing room.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
And him throwing the ball out to nowhere land.
Yeah, I already spoke a bunch about that in the opening here, man. It's unbelievable. It's hard to even, normally I can come up with some kind of excuses or kind of say, like, can rewatch some of it. And I haven't dove too much into rewatching the game, but usually I can look back and go, okay, all right, well, this is why they did this, which looked kind of dumb. I have no explanation for those play calls at the end of the game.
But, okay, though. So what are you saying then, though? Exactly. I mean, do you think, though, that it's like Chucky brought up that question weeks back or a couple weeks ago, said that he sometimes questions Allen's mental toughness. Is it a state of mind thing? Is it a mental place that you don't think Allen is at? You're saying that he seems off. Is it Allen's state of mind, or is this really more just a? Because one of the things I said in the open here, too, is, well, the Bills clearly have a number one receiver. He wasn't out there yesterday, but Shakir is, without him, it looks like we got a ragtag team of misfits. I mean, so what is it? Is it Allen's state of mind, or is it more the fact that this team, this group, this wide receiver room needs some help? And do we address that, too? Because that's going to be the big question going around. Right now, I'm sure that's going to be work magic for Devontae Adams. Or I think Amari Cooper. What do you think?
Well, either one of them would be a plus to our passing game. There's no doubt. But I'm not saying that we have a ragtag passing, receiving core.
I'm trying not to say that either, but that's what it looked like yesterday.
Okay, but we clearly don't have a real number two when Shakir is out. But like they say, everybody's going to eat, so they're going to pass the ball around and stuff. Well, the main part of passing the ball around in the Jacksonville game, he hit 10 different receivers right on the mark. He almost had a perfect game.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But since that game, and something happened someplace. I don't know if it happened at the end of the Jacksonville game, if it was in the beginning of the Baltimore game, but something happened because he was not on the mark throughout the Baltimore game. It definitely wasn't. And then he wasn't on the mark at all yesterday. I mean, a couple of times maybe, and that was late in the second half. In the second half, he started to spark it up a little bit, but then he fell off again. And then once he hit his head, that was it. Yeah, I don't know where the hell he was throwing. I don't think he knew where he was throwing. But it's telling me, and I agreed, something is wrong and I agree with Charlie. Because if you look at even his interviews after some of these games, and if you think back last year, the year before, whatever, you look back, whenever he was talking to an announcer, he was looking them dead in the eye. And he would be talking to them and answering them. Now when he's talking to them, and it's been this whole season, I mean, right from the beginning, I was thinking to myself, what the hell's wrong with this guy? The announcer is talking to him, and it's like he's looking off into the sky. He's not even looking at him.
All right.
and it's like, and that's telling me that, you know, like, he's losing his focus here.
Yeah, we got
And I don't
Chucky
know
beeping in on the other line, man.
To lose his focus. I don't know, but it looks like he's not concentrating, and that very well could be that, you know, maybe one shot to the head too many that we really didn't realize did damage, you know. But I'm thinking, and that's why I'm blaming the coaching staff, just like the Shadow had done earlier. You know, I mean, I know he doesn't call in and stuff, but he has said it that it's just that the coaching staff knows, and he's blaming the coaching staff. He said they know that training staff, that coaching staff, they know he's not playing the way he normally does. You know, and the reason I say that is because they're with the guy every day of the week for at least 10 hours a day. They're with the guy, okay? And you can't tell me that they don't see that his, even in practice,
yeah.
his passes are...
All right, I get where you're going with that, man, but what do you think they're going to do? Is the coaching staff supposed to jump out and put Mitch Trubisky in, and how do they explain that to the fan base? You know, and what if it's something in his head? You know?
Now, listen to me. Maybe not, okay. They could, you know, like when he hurt his left hand.
Yeah.
They could use that as an excuse.
Yeah, well, a little late.
Just to give it time for, like, even if it was just to give it one game.
All right.
All right, listen. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, thinking that Allen's hurt. No, man. They don't have good receivers, man. They have a bunch of number 2s or number 3s. We don't have a good receiver. Like, Shakir is pretty good, but it's not that Allen is hurt. Like, that's asinine, man. Listen, the Bills' outside receivers are not good. They're not good players, man. So what the Ravens did, it's the same thing the Texans did. They played cover 1, okay? So cover 1, for if you guys don't know, cover 1 is at one safety high. And then the rest of the players are up close, or either in the box or they're playing the middle of the field. The Ravens and the Texans played cover 1 defense almost the entire day, which what they did, they took away the middle of the field. So that put the pressure on the Bills for their outside receivers to make plays. Okay, and who's our outside receivers? Matt Collins? Valdez-Scantling? Those guys, they're not top receivers, man. They're not. So basically, Allen did not have the middle of the field. That's what they played. So that's why you saw at the end of the game, you know, they had a couple of, like, you know, prayers thrown deep to the outside receivers because that's all they had. They had single coverage. Now, if you have Diggs or you have, like, Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams on the outside, man, you can't play cover 1 because those guys will just roast you. So, you know, I have a lot of blame to put on the coaches for the final, you know, 3 plays on offense. Like, that's just boneheaded, man. But as far as, like, why the offense struggled all day, man, it's because we don't have good receivers. The defense knows that. They knew that. So they schemed against it, man. That's the long and the short of it.
You are absolutely
correct. Allen's not hurt, man. Sure, he was off. His timing was off.
You think what's in his head is that
they also have a good pass rush. So they threw off the timing. So I don't know, man. It doesn't look good. They got to get a receiver.
I think you're putting too much credit into Diggs. Diggs wasn't the only receiver we had, and in the ending of his last year here, he barely caught anything. I mean, he was dropping more than he was catching, and he didn't put on that great of a show
yesterday. Yeah, because you were double teaming him.
You know, I mean, I think you're giving Diggs too much credit, far too much.
Okay, my response to that, and I'll let this could turn into an argument. Because Diggs had more receiving yards than all of our receivers put together, man. Receiving core put together.
Right. Now listen.
Their quarterback was on target. Ours wasn't. Their quarterback didn't have 90 completions out of 30 passes. Come on, face reality, man.
Come on, face reality. Face reality. How many passes were dropped yesterday, man?
Jesus Christ. What game were you watching?
How many passes? What game were you watching? How many passes were dropped yesterday, you bonehead?
Just about all of them that got near anybody. The rest of them were overthrown.
Okay, so let's blame Allen. Let's blame Allen because he's got a bunch of scrubs.
Hitting him
Yeah,
in the
okay.
numbers. Hitting him
I
in
don't
the
know, man.
hands.
I think you were watching the
The
Bengals
way he
game.
was doing. The way he normally does. Even the announcer said
sure,
it.
man.
He's not playing Josh football. That's not typical him.
Yeah, it's tough to blame Allen, though, man. It's tough for me to blame Allen. Chucky has a point, man. Diggs did better than our receivers combined yesterday, which, he didn't take the game away, though. It wasn't all Diggs, he didn't have that great of a game, but he played like he did here. He was used the way he needed to be used, and he's just got Buffalo just crying for the loss of a good receiver, because yesterday, man, it just showed up like, yeah, this everybody eats and all of that is a wonderful idea. But if you don't have the ability to make it work, then what's the point of it? Because it's not doing what it needs to do. It's not Allen, though. I see.
6 to 1 and half a dozen is the other, okay?
But listen.
But the difference
Tommy.
was, hang on, just let me finish. The biggest difference was Stroud was on target.
Obviously.
Allen wasn't.
Well,
And that's the part that
there were.
bothers me. That's
I
not
can't
the
say
way
that
he
though.
played.
I know you want to simplify it to that, but to think that it's just that is just.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Come on, man.
I think what it is just a lack of faith in that receiving room, man. Especially without Shakir.
I just think that it's really, really kind of asinine to blame our best player. Our best player. He's our best player.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, our receiving core is a bunch of scrubs, man.
Yeah.
Okay, other really, really good teams, they have 2 really good receivers. Sometimes 3. We have 0. We have a bunch of number 2s and number 3 receivers. Yeah, I think calling them number 2 receivers is a gift.
I don't know. I think
'Cause they're
Shakir
not.
could be a number 1, man. Definitely a number 2.
He's not a number 1. He's our number 1. But you
I
put him
th-
on any other team?
I
Put
understand.
him on any other team.
I understand.
Tell me a team out there where you put him on their roster and he's their number 2.
That's what I was saying, though. Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe the Chiefs, because they don't really have anybody right now with Rashee Rice down.
Right, but But I think what I'm saying with Shakir, man, is he's how young he is, and this is really his second year coming on at all. I think he's gonna grow into what he could grow into.
He's
what
a
could be
number
a
2
one.
receiver. He's a number 2.
What makes him unable to be a 1? He can't grow into that role.
Well, okay, so tell me the characteristics about him that would make him a number 1.
His yards
'Cause
after
right
catch
now
is
he's a good yak guy. That's it. But is he like elite yak guy? No,
I don't know, man.
No.
I think he could grow into
he's
it.
not. Okay.
I don't know, man. I think Shakir is every bit.
I've seen him make moves that I haven't seen a lot of our other receivers do in many years, including Diggs. I mean, look at the Pittsburgh playoff game last year when he tucked away to make that touchdown. He pulled out of that tackle. That's a type of football move that you don't normally see most receivers make. Now, he's not doing it constantly every week all the time, but he does it. Look, man, I know I'm trying to kind of be optimistic here and say that, we have a fantastic receiver. I do have a lot of faith in Shakir as a great receiver. Yeah, you're correct, Chucky. He's a number 2. I understand, but I think he's our best receiver right now, and he's very good. And he with someone like him, and I was hoping Kincaid we could make it work, but now I guess what, you're losing faith, huh?
But okay, here's a little bit of an example. He's saying that Buffalo doesn't have any number 2s. He's saying
We don't have a number 1.
ragtag team that none of them would even make number 2 on another team. All right. Well, let's take a look at something. Okay. Other than Jerry Rice, who is now out for Kansas City, other than Kelsey, who does Mahomes have? He doesn't have a number 1. Kelsey is his number 1. So
Yeah, and their offense is struggling, man. Their offense is struggling.
With the broken leg, and he's not going to be playing. All right. Who does Mahomes actually have? Probably nobody.
Xavier Worthy.
Be a number 1 on another team. But what does he have? He has his accuracy. And that's why I say that is what's missing from Allen. someplace he lost his accuracy. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's crazy, man. He throws back shoulder throws to Coleman and laser beams. He still does. I don't think his accuracy is just gone because he threw a couple errant passes yesterday.
No, it's not a couple. Well, a couple is okay. He hits 20 out of 30. That's a couple of errors.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to say that.
Come on.
But a lot of those were dropped.
And you're going to tell me those were all drops?
Not all, but a lot of them.
Why were they drops? Because they were short? Because they were out of their reach and went off their fingertips?
Yeah. Hey, look, I know that he didn't have a great game yesterday, man. No one's arguing that. I don't think Allen's overall accuracy is the problem with the team.
I'm just saying that he is part of it. He is part of it.
Yeah.
If he was right on, and he was hitting these guys in the numbers, and they were just dropping the ball, then I would say those are bad receivers. But not when you've had.
Yeah, no, these are good receivers. No, just like probably the third best player in the league right now. That's the reason why we're not good. Okay.
Like 60% of your passes are completed. Yeah. And you're telling me that they're a bad core? No, man, they're not that bad. But you have to get the ball to them. You got to put it within their grasp. You understand what I'm saying?
No, nobody does.
He's not throwing it. And so,
No,
man.
dude.
I'm trying to be optimistic here because I really like Allen. I don't want to see it happen.
Dude, he's like the second, maybe third or fourth best player in the entire league? And you're saying that he's the reason we're losing right now? Because we have a bunch of scrub receivers. Dude, the Chiefs have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have McCole Hardman. Okay, they have Xavier Worthy. Listen, I like Shakir, but I'm not saying he's better than any of those guys. They're about the same. And you're trying to make a comparison with the Chiefs right now. Their offense is struggling, man, just like ours, because they don't have a good receiver. And Kelsey is done. He's cooked. Their defense is saving them, man, and Mahomes is playing out of his mind at the end of games to win. And that's what we missed yesterday. Sure, you could say that Allen didn't put on his cape at the very end of the game, but you're trying to put lipstick on a pig, man. You're trying to say that this receiving core is not that bad. They're not good, man. They're not good.
No, they're not.
I don't know why you want to. I don't know why you want to defend that. I don't know why you want to defend that, man. They're not good.
They're not. Okay.
They're not.
Okay. All right, they're not good. But you're missing my point. My point is, if Allen was playing...
Your point is that Allen needs to put it in their hands, and he did yesterday. They dropped it.
No, if he was on target, it wouldn't have
Okay,
been the way.
hold on, man. Let me say one more thing. One more thing, Tommy. Listen, man. That one throw to Matt Collins, what was it, the third quarter? Second quarter? Where the guy was wide open, man. Okay? The ball was right there. And Matt Collins, he looked to the left, he looked to the right, and then he tried to Willie Mays it. Dude, it looked like the guy should not even be out on the field. That play alone shows that he's not a number 2 receiver, man, and we're putting him in the number 2 spot. That was embarrassing,
yeah,
man.
It was. I hear you, and I don't know what Tommy can say to defend that one.
In the third quarter,
No.
when he was open, and he didn't try to Willie Mays it. He didn't try to Willie Mays it. Jeez, Willie Mays it, man.
Yeah, he did. It went over his head.
He didn't do that. He was going after it. Now, I'm not trying to defend the receivers any more than, well, maybe a little bit more than what Charlie is, but that's not the point. The point was, had that ball, now, and if he's trying to Willie Mays it, that means he's slowing down to get it. Why was he slowing down? Because the ball was behind him? If it was on target, he would have caught that.
How was it behind him when it went over his head? What are you talking about?
Allen usually does. Hits him stride. They don't have to slow down. Okay, I mean, yeah, sometimes we're backing into the end zone and he makes one of those fantastic passes and they're falling backwards as they catch it. That's really amazing.
What are you talking
right
about,
there.
man?
It's falling into his belly. Okay? But that's not what happened.
I don't think you know what Willie.
On that play, he's
Willie
slowing
Mays.
down because that ball's behind him. It's not where it should be. And that's all I'm saying.
It wasn't behind him though. The ball was in front of him in that catch, in that drop. It was dropping in front of him.
Were in front of him, went off the front of his hands, went off his fingertips.
It went over his head, man. It wasn't in front of him. It wasn't behind him.
He isn't a real class runner. You know, he doesn't have the speed.
Exactly. He's not a fantastic receiver, man. I mean, he's good. He's all right, but he's
Right.
yeah.
Well, they're good, but you know.
All right, listen, man. Listen, there's no more. We're not just gonna continue to argue over this wide receiving core. I mean, I know that's the problem, but let's.
It's a good conversation, but
It is, but where's it going? Because the most disappointing thing about that game yesterday, man.
Shoulder.
I'm not gonna
Touch his shoulder.
look, man. We need Josh Allen, or we're not doing anything. So let's just not even worry about it and hope that he's all right and they know what they're doing, because there's nothing else we're gonna do about that. I want to say what's so disappointing about yesterday was that the defense. I don't think the defense actually was played very bad at all. Defense was pretty decent, and to hold them to 23 total.
And in the second half, they were shutting Houston down. In fact, they did.
Right. So this is where
Houston did was a field goal and was at the wrong time.
All right. Right. So, and this is where I like to, why I like, you know, I always would stand up for kind of McDermott and stuff, you know, for a lot of times, because, I mean, face it, it's him and Babbage now too, but it's McDermott that has like a group that has so many injuries still performing so well. And so I love McDermott with that and the aggressiveness he shows, but I got to tell you, I am now shifting a little bit toward the side of all the McDermott haters, and like even what Chucky was saying earlier earlier this year about him closing out games and at the end I mean, what is he doing? Because what are you doing? Why the Texans still had all their timeouts. Make them burn their timeouts. So I understand you got to get a first down, but you move to the first down. Why are you throwing down the field 3 times in a row? And when your passing game hasn't done shit the entire day, why would you be throwing downfield in that situation? You know, so is it an issue, man? Are we right back around to where McDermott has to go? That this is as good as this team's ever really going to get?
He has to go because, I mean, who is it? Joe Brady calling the plays?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about game time decisions now, not the offensive play calling.
I mean, yeah, maybe McDermott could tell him.
I mean, not you know what I mean?
For a while and let me call these plays.
In the final
You know,
moments,
maybe he
that's
could do that.
ultimately
I don't know.
McDermott's choice of where to go, of how to go. I can understand Brady's still kind of learning, really.
Right. I mean, I agree totally on those last 3 plays when they were backed up after 3 and he's in his own end. Come on. It's like, why aren't you at least trying to run the ball and give him some breathing room? Instead of backing him up into the end zone and trying to throw these passes that, yeah, they're going to be covering. You can see it. They were playing you for the long pass.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
Listen.
and you had plenty of time, man. You had 3 minutes, for God's sakes.
Yeah, man. The last thing I'll say is, it's the same thing I said, man. The book is out on the Bills' offense, man. Yeah, we're good. We can run it. You know, Allen can run it. You know, Allen can make fantastic off-script plays. But when it comes to like just our basic overall offensive philosophy, is like, you know, passes to the middle of the field. The book is out, man. The Ravens figured it out. Okay, take away the middle of the field, play cover 1. It make the Bills' outside receivers make a play, and right now it looks like they can't. Maybe when Shakir comes back, he can. But
Yeah, maybe
you know,
Shakir
that's not.
my hope is
That's
Coleman.
not a very It's not a very dynamic offense, man, at all.
No.
So
No, it's not.
I don't think it's
unfortunate.
Allen. I think it's Allen doesn't have the tools. Name one quarterback out there that doesn't have at least one weapon.
Yeah.
At least one. Maybe Kincaid can develop into one. Maybe Shakir can.
Maybe
but right
Coleman
now, they're
can.
not.
Right. Maybe Coleman can too. I mean, he's a rookie, so it's a little harder to put a faith for this season in him. But you never know. I mean, the guy's made some very incredible catches so far. Yeah, but that's kind of what we have to count on. I think you hit it on the head there. So, all right then, Tommy, go ahead with a little talk about what you expect for next week, man.
I agree with Charlie on.
Go ahead,
on the
next
fact
week,
that,
man.
You know, they,
Moving on to the Jets, man.
They need that the defenses are figuring it out. Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, it's
only a matter of time, man. You know, when they start figuring out, well, man, this is what they're going to do, and they do it consistently. Yeah, that's what they're going to take away from you. You have to mix it up more.
On to the Jets.
True, you're not going to be able to mix it up unless you get a couple other, at least one more good receiver.
Yeah, I'm probably cutting that out, Pops. We've already said this a bunch of times. On to the Jets, man.
On to the Jets. You're going to have the same problem because the Jets' defense has already figured it out. They figured it out before Baltimore. They figured it out last year. You know.
Well, last year though we had Diggs last year and Davis, but you're right. Yeah, they did kind of figure it out last year. Go ahead.
They shut them down the opening game, and that was when they had their backup quarterback in there. So it wasn't their offense that was doing it. Their offense wasn't beating the heck out of Buffalo. Our defense will be okay. I have faith in our defense. I still do. They stand up. So I'm more concerned with what we're going to do with our offense.
Of course. Are they going to shut down Rodgers on defense?
I think they could do that. Rodgers isn't having all that great.
No. And he looks rough the other day too.
Who doesn't have any receivers?
Talking about, he's got Garrett Wilson.
What? Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, he's got at least an elite number one. And Quentin Johnson,
Williams.
right?
I would say he's about the same as Shakir. Garrett Wilson.
What?
Nah, I wouldn't go that far, man.
You're high.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
You think he's better than Shakir?
even if he's not, even if Shakir is miles better, defenses don't think so, and they don't play him like they are. They believe Garrett Wilson's, and that's what happens. Garrett Wilson scares a defense. They're not going to play cover one on Garrett Wilson. You know what I mean? They can't do that because they know he'll break free. So they don't think Shakir is a deep ball threat. And I'm
Well, they should.
inclined to. He's more yards after catch. I don't know how. I don't know. Go ahead, Chucky. What do you think for next week, man? Give us your thoughts real quick.
Dude, big concerns, man. The Jets are an elite defense. They are. Like, Houston has a good D. Baltimore has a good D. The Jets have an elite D. Sure, like the Vikings kind of, I don't know. The Vikings didn't really have that great of an offensive game. They kind of shut Darnold down, man. It was the Vikings defense that kind of, took them out. They picked Rodgers off 3 times. So I don't know. Allen never plays well against the Jets. Maybe he has like 1 or 2 games that he's played well against them. I'm not as optimistic as you guys might be. I'm worried, man. I think right now the Bills are in trouble, man.
All right, that's it, folks. Turn it off. What are you doing? Shut off the DFL podcast now. There's no reason to listen to any more of this shit. You heard it. You heard all of it. Recap. Josh Allen played like shit yesterday, 9-30, but he is by no means the problem with our offense right now. I do think that he knows that his weapons are very limited, and without at least Shakir out there, we got very exposed. As Chuck said, and he makes a good point, the Baltimore Ravens opened up the book on how to shut down which isn't rocket science, on how to shut down our limited receiving core. You just take them away, and Allen's, you can let him run around all over the field. You can let Cook get some of his yards. That defenses will let us do that all day long. If they take away any Allen's weapons to throw to, if they take away the passing game, you're going to shut down the game. And and if we don't have the talent, then we got to get really creative, and that's what I'm going to put hope and faith in for next week. Joe Brady gets creative out of his mind, does shit you never even thought was possible on a football field. That's what you're going to see next week, folks. Let's look optimistic. Looking toward next week. You have no idea what you're getting, people. You want optimism? I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you a big fat fucking bowl of optimism right here. You're going to take it home and you're going to sit in this like a big bowl of warm Jell-O. And it's going to make you feel really, really nice and cozy. Joe Brady is going to scheme up shit like he did in college there. And he's going to make Khalil Shakir look like Jamar Chase. All right? Coleman's going to have a Justin Jefferson game. I'm going to call it right now. My prediction for next week, Bills 42, Jets 10. All right? You heard it here first, folks, on the DFL podcast. Go Bills! It's hard to do right now, man. It's hard to do. I hope I summoned it. I hope I mustered up enough where you're a little convinced. You're like, hey, yeah, Bill's making me feel a little better about this team right now. He's excited for next week. He's excited. I'm excited, folks. Monday Night Football. Yeah, you're ready for some football. See you next week, people. Go Bills.